take it off. These are looking at era. They didn't hip hop. They are hip hop. It came from their essence. You understand? So it's not like they could put anything down. The pieces, the chromosome, the DNA of the culture that we all collectively enjoy, it was breathed, it was born from the Crazy Legs, from the Big Daddies, from the Bismarcks, from the Roxanne Shantés, the Marlons, and all of these people. It is a conglomerate. It is a collective of some people who, to be honest with you, they don't get the type of credit. They don't. I hope they all got 800 credit. They should get a credit boost. They should get anything that they motherfucking want in this world of what they brought to us in the form of this culture that we all benefit from. To this day, every single one of us, single one of us benefit from that. You could wake up. I don't mean to cut you. You could wake up. You could decide that you want to do some hip hop shit. You could walk outside of your house and get a motherfucking bag. You could wake up. You could decide you want to make clothes. You want to do dance. Whatever you want to do, as long as if you tap into this spirit, if you tap into the energy of this culture, it's gonna work for you. You understand? It's gonna work for you. It pulls so many people out of poverty. Like, you know, I just feel like it's an honor to see the, you know what I mean? Like you've brought up on many occasions, the way that, you know, we treat our elders in hip hop is atrocity. It's like rock and roll doesn't do that. Jazz never did that. You know, blues wasn't even doing that. You had people rocking out to the blues in their 80s and whatnot. The only genre that plays this age hierarchy, unfortunately, is this quote unquote hip hop.
And I mean, and there's a reason for that, because this is a youthful art form that was birthed by bastardized youth. And when I say bastardized youth, I don't technically mean that all of the children didn't have fathers in their homes. But
hello and welcome back to our
who
coverage of this
the culture?
Q-School
Who were the
event
overlords of the culture? The beboppers and the jazz and the R&B cats did not pass the torch. You know what I'm saying? They didn't pass the torch. They didn't sit down with the little homies and give them, you know what I'm saying, the source code information, like to these record labels. These Jewish mafia is about to turn your head upside down and go all through your pockets. They didn't even warn them about that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And then this is a larger narrative about the fallout. Again, this is Home Alone. These are children who had access to records of their parents and technology, and they figured some shit out on their own because their parents wasn't there for whatever reason. And then we got to look at hip hop as being a byproduct and a fallout of a major cataclysm in our existence and our reality, which was
making one bad mistake with another, compounding it, not good.
And the fallout that created a vacuum that mad different shit popped off because of, right? So the fact that the majority of these children were running around in the streets without eldership or leadership, the irony is that they come under the 5% nation, and the quote unquote the recognized leader of that is Father Allah, right? But how many of those children could he possibly have been a father to, right? So you look at these same children that came up with this information. Imagine if they had the discipline of the eldership of an Elijah Muhammad. You know, the elder leadership of the nation at that time that could have ordained these young soldiers and prepared them for the fight of their life that they, you know what I'm saying, inadvertently signed up for just by being birthed into this shit during this time. You get birthed into the 70s, your father and them is coming home from Vietnam. Some of these niggas is missing. Some of these niggas is on dope. You feel me? Other than them start becoming black capitalists because they get turned out by the Nixon propaganda of him turning our people into black capitalists through the Office of Economic Opportunity, and they cutting checks to all of these community organizations like Larry Hoover, right? Turning them out. Jeff Fort and them, right? So these are the things that was taking place. This is the backdrop of where hip-hop becomes created from. Yeah, latchkey kids, these children that are part of a society called Pluto and Libra. We were born in that society of Pluto and Libra. Pluto, change and transformation. Libra, relationships, contracts, ultimately family. You know what I'm saying? Everything starts changing during this period. These latchkey kids, the blackout of 1977, right?
Right.
Changes everything because the hood is running up in stores and they're gaining access to technology that they technically can't afford yet because the dope trade, you know, the coke, niggas wasn't moving on the block like that. They didn't have access to the bread. So the blackout allowed them to what we call retail reparations, right? They were able to liberate, some shit that was sitting in the window, like a little doggy, a puppy, and nobody was buying it. SP 1200, come here, Techniques, come here, right? Yeah. And then you get the innovation, right? It comes by way of these youthful spirits coming into contact with this technology and figuring shit out on their own, right? So, the whole culture is run on some youthful shit, like Warriors the movie. No older OGs, no elders pretty much walking them in. Like, yo, this is how the game is going to be played. This is how they're going to come for you. You feel me? This is the potential to be made in a genre such as this if you do X, Y, and Z.
Right.
So you're talking about people who contributed their blood, sweat, and tears to a multi-trillion-dollar industry. You feel me?
Right.
Who are still on stage rapping for their legacy to this day. Potential to be made.
Right. That's crazy, right?
Some of them might look at it as noble, and we might salute it, right? Because we are emotionally enraptured into the nostalgia of it all, right? And some people might look at this shit and cry. And be like, well, goddamn. I was looking at a interview with Lil Baby earlier, and he was talking about how he bought everybody in his family houses, and he's never even been to their cribs yet.
Right.
He was like, yo, he just told him to send him a text, you know what I'm saying, at the crib that they found, and he'll send the money. Right?
Yeah.
I was looking at some other stuff. I forget what other rapper, but there was another rapper, Boosie, of course. Some other rappers that speak about, I was able to put my mom in the crib.
Young Thug and them.
Oh, Young Thug was talking about it as well, right? I put the whole family in cribs, bought everybody a crib, or rips for this, right? So and I remember like when niggas picked up work in the 80s. Remember what they used to always say? These drugs because I want to move my mom out the hood, feed my family.
Yes.
That shit never happened. You know what I'm saying? And even if she moved out the hood, them niggas came to repossess that shit when homie caught a charge. Right? Didn't necessarily. Niggas lost all their whips. Wow. Cribs got repossessed. You know what I'm saying? Mama ended up back in the hood with an egg on her face. Now she got to deal with and contend with the fact that you done shot this nigga over there, robbed that nigga over there. The neighbors into fiends. Just in an even scarier, precarious situation, and you up north.
Right, you laid up.
And she got to pay for your phone calls and figure out how to see you, right?
Right.
Now these young men are able to, divert all of that and be like, yo, with this talent or this fucking even half of a talent, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm able to do this shit legit and put my family in a position where I get to break generational curses.
That's right.
And this is just shit that people were able to do off the fumes, right? Off of a fraction of a penny from fucking CD sales or digital downloads.
Right.
Right? So let's not focus on the fact that we like, oh shit, well, what did the record executives, you know what I'm saying? What did these niggas get? What did they buy? We don't really know those narratives. That hasn't really as of yet.
Apple stocks,
right?
Shit
but
like
we know enough, with these artists and these entertainers that You know what I'm saying? There has been some breakthroughs on the behalf in terms of how the genre can change lives, you know, and there's so many different. You worked in the industry. I worked in the industry. There's so many jobs. There's so many different aspects that don't even get talked about.
Yeah, roles.
You know, there's so much
positions. Yeah,
so many positions to be filled.
Super.
You feel me?
Yeah, that's a fact.
And we don't talk about that. We don't prepare our children necessarily. Everybody either want to be a rapper, you feel me, or a shooter.
Right.
You know?
That's a fact.
So, you know, that aspect of it gets overlooked and needs to be discussed. You feel me? And that was the fact that our children had atomic bombs in their hands. You know what I'm saying? With the information, the lessons, if you will. You feel me?
Right.
Had atomic bombs in their hands. You know? And I don't know if they were ever able to really maximize the potential of what they had possession of, or what they have possession of. You know, and the only thing that I could attribute that to is the fact that the loss of
this looks to be heading for the cut stuff.
You know, at a detriment, right?
Right.
I mean, think about the children today, right? To juxtapose it, think about these children that are being born, these star seeds. You know, brother came and picked me up the other day to show me some land, right? He showed me footage of his child. His child was 9 months old, playing a guitar, bro. I don't know if you like a grown person guitar. He was holding, he was holding the top, which is considered one string, and he was strumming with his finger, and he was making audible tunes. He showed me another footage of him standing in front of it, going in.
Right.
9 months.
Right.
He hadn't even started walking yet. He started walking
these indigos
like 2 days after his first birthday. Off the hook.
These indigos, these star seeds is something else.
Level of detriment that they would be at with all of this skill, all of this talent that is to be utilized, obviously, for something. They have been sent here and retrofitted with a skill set and a talent and a evolutionary, right, you know, gene in them to advance them super fast to catch up with something. Imagine if there was no adults here to greet them when they became 4, 5, 6, 7, to make sense of all of this information that they got, all of this access, all of these skills, and they had to figure this shit out.
They be in a better place. They be in a better place. You know what? Tells them, you know, who you talking to? What you doing? That's not real. This is real. Before they get indoctrinated with all of the lies from public education and whatnot, if they had to figure it out, I think they may fare better. You never know what they could turn around and create and whatnot.
Yeah, that was a bad example.
I want to just real quick, y'all, I'm sharing the Discord link. Y'all make sure y'all go and sign up to the Discord, please. All right, for all of my brothers and sisters who want to be a part of Know the Legend. We have a Discord group where we'll be building on every single day. We're going to have people dropping information in there. It's going to be a community. So go ahead and sign up. It's free, 99. You know what I'm talking about? And have fun. You know what I mean? But say what you were saying.
Yeah, so I'm looking at the cultural dynamic, you know, of the music, of the genre, you know, where it came from, what it originally meant, you know what I'm saying, where it's at today, you know, the fact that we still to this day, you know, unfortunately, ironically, you know, is devoid of any social commentary. You know, there's not a lot of information being exchanged through the music, you know, through the mainstream or what have you.
You know what I think?
Artists are being, you know, artists are tasked with being reporters, cultural critics, conveyors of whatever's taking place in the time that they exist, right? That's what music has always been. That's what musicians have always been. You know what I'm saying? We not getting none of that. Like the last meaningful thing that I heard that resonated, that was really a shock to the system, was Little Baby. That was last year.
Yeah, the big picture.
I mean, not to take anything away from King's Disease or King's Disease 2,
right,
or AZ or any of these phenomenal artists, you know, to represent a different level of resurgent. That shit is over 40 rap. That's a whole nother category.
That's different. We're talking about because when, yeah, I don't mean to cut your wisdom, but when Rakim Allah was dropping Science, when Big Daddy Kane was dropping his nuggets and whatnot, when KRS-One, they were 17, 18, and 19 years old. To this day, we looking at them like, to this day, they came out, they was these old heads. It was on some boring shit. No, these were the littles and the youngs of that day.
And
if you go back, what the fuck? I mean, no shot at the generation because it is what it is, you know, whatever. But think about it. The listen, go and read just go. What the fuck were they thinking about at 17? What was Nas reading that made him write Illmatic? What was rocking on?
Big Daddy Kane, if you slowed them rhymes down and listened to them and read them, because I remember being around, again, older dudes who we look up to, who considered themselves seasoned rappers. They used to sit in the crib and write out all of Kane's rhymes and study them.
Straight like that. Website to do that. They was writing that shit with a pen.
They was writing it out and studying it.
They trying to reverse engineer. Right.
You feel me? It was like, how do you come up with this rhyme scheme? And even last night, me seeing him go through them rhyme schemes.
This one looks to be heading for the century.
And now, you know, me being a writer and understanding, you feel me? Rhyme formats and shit like that. I'm like, bro, as a child, what was your backdrop? Because there's no precedence that comes before you where you like, oh, I just sat around and I was listening to James Brown and shit and I came up with a style of my own. It's like, no, this is really when you had to be authentic and unique and at one with yourself, where these are coming to you and you're putting them together. You feel me? You're putting them together on beat. And the shit is classic out the gate. And it rocks to this day.
To this day.
It ain't even age.
Right.
We like,
Gretchen said,
age like fine wine.
Super fact.
Teenagers.
That's when you know you're dealing with timeless classics. People are so quick to label things a classic. Classic is when it plays 30 and 20 and 40 years later, that shit will still move the crowd. And if they put it out today, it'll still chart, right? It'll still move the crowd. It'll still, you know, it's really, I'm really wild. I'm befuddled when I'm thinking about how young these artists were when they were making this music. This is grown man music.
Right.
This is music that 40-year-old and 50-year-old adults are still appreciative of. And the shit came out when we were teenagers, and it from teenagers, and they didn't have ghostwriters. Because that wasn't even that wasn't even thought of. I mean, there was ghostwriters because, like I said, Big Daddy Kane was writing Biz Markie shit.
They have pushed the genre, right? The genre has been a continuum of them and their influences. Where outside of like Nas comes after that, right?
Right.
And there's a class that comes after Nas, nigga. That's the cutoff.
What you mean by that? The cutoff?
Where has the young class come from underneath them, right? That has set precedence where you like, God damn, homie changed the game. Homie came and did something original, right? Points on the board that cannot be, attained or contested. Like,
Wow, Rich.
when has the last wave of
Bow Wow,
illmatic
nigga.
artists come down?
Bow Wow. Bow Wow.
Make sure you get both the line and the speed right here.
What?
To this day! To this day! Bow Wow, nigga. Yeah, Bow Wow.
All right, but even that, let's say that. Bow Wow.
I'm just playing, man. Stop
no, I'm just saying, because I watched the verses with Bow Wow and Soulja Boy, and I'm like, niggas don't give Bow Wow his props.
Bars.
He got bars. He got classics. He got hits.
Bars.
He represented something for his genre at the time and his demographic that was special enough that them niggas is having the millennial tour to this day, and this shit is selling out. So, and he was the only kid. He was the only child.
Up to what was, you're out there with Snoop Dogg, and you can't be coming with no little,
And that's what I'm saying.
So high.
Like I said, yeah,
right.
he was really on some shit. So like I said, the artists of those time and the people who came after them that they inspired are still the people in the game today. So that you can't mention the Bow Wow goes underneath the Snoop Dogg folder.
Right.
Right.
They're saying Kendrick. I don't know how old Kendrick was in what was that, District 80? What was that mixtape?
No, Section 80.
Section 80. I don't know what his actual age was.
No. He was in he was okay. He was probably.
He represents a generation, right? He's a generation.
He was young.
Rapper.
He was young. You know.
And they saying Baby Wayne. They saying Baby Wayne, early Wayne at Hot Boys Wayne.
Absolutely.
Right? But he comes under. He comes under. Juvenile was an old man. He wasn't young when he came out. I'm just saying, Juvenile was older.
But he's it's different. It's a little,
The younger ones back then, they still had to measure up. So they couldn't just come. That was the thing with Soulja Boy, because Soulja Boy came in and proved that you didn't have to be serious. You didn't have to be loud.
Cosign.
Remember,
right?
Shit.
That's how. Yeah, he bumped heads with who? With Ice-T. Nigga said, "Who co-signed this nigga?" He said, "I don't need a cosign." That was the break.
Right.
With him,
the same way. Remember, KRS-One and Nelly got into it.
Real, I remember that shit.
KRS-One and Nelly got into it, and the nigga was talking greasy. I would have loved to see that versus. Because remember, the BT shit just came on when Nelly had his classics. Feel me? I would love to see KRS-One and Nelly have been hit right there.
How did that pop
grudge match?
But that too was like part of the same thing when
old heads talking crazy.
Shit was changing. Yeah, things.
Everybody was about bling bling and the videos and the cars, all the flashy shit, and they wasn't talking about that no more.
Right.
But they winning hip hop awards. They getting classified as the new best hip hop artist. Like, how the fuck that shit right? You don't even qualify. If I ask you to freestyle, you can't freestyle right now. How are you hip hop?
Right.
The rapper thing. I ain't no hip hop artist. I'm a rapper.
Right. And then it gets to Atlanta, and niggas is like, I'm not a rapper, I'm a trapper. Right.
Right.
You feel me?
I'm saying.
So we can't take anything away from Lil Wayne. And yes,
but even Lil Wayne, because like back in the days, he was a young 14. So you had to come with something. But when they started classifying Wayne as the best rapper alive, to me, I thought Wayne was just doing stupid shit. He was just making words wrong. He had cool punchlines like Young Thug.
Yeah, Wayne was different because when he was rhyming, niggas wasn't rhyming.
But that's what I'm saying. It's the same thing like Drake. Drake is only Drake because nobody else, everybody else had their label issues. There was no one else to be competition. Like Nicki was Nicki because there was nobody else to compete against her. So
Ja Rule got
Wayne was lit, but he already had that hot boy shit. So by the time he got to Fireman Wayne, he just say whatever the fuck he want to say, cause he Wayne. And it rhymed, and it's kind of lit. You know, like, it sounds good, confident.
But after that, the mix.
He had Gilly with him.
Yeah.
Got Gilly with him. He had a few people with him. That's after Squad Up. This is after Katrina. He moves to Miami. He locks in. Remember, was a thing. He locks. He right. He leaves the Louisiana. He goes to a newer grid. Right. This is around the rise of BMF. You know what I mean? I was out there. This is the rise when Meech and them were beginning to take over Miami. He had a heavy influence, a Hova influence, and then a Dipset influence as well, where they were based sharp one of the sword. But his initial flow, when he was going dummy, I'm talking about early Wayne dummy flow, is a motherfucking Jay-Z Louisiana flow. That's a baby Jay-Z. Let's be clear. Same way when T.I. was sparking, when T.I. was that nigga, when he was like, I'm the king, and they was like, you are, right? That was that. They were calling him the Jay-Z of Atlanta or the Jay-Z of the South. Not to say that he was emulating Hova's flow, but he was basically embodying that. But Lil Wayne, Dwayne Carter, basically was a clone in the beginning. Let's be clear. He began to spread his wings a little bit more as he experimented, and he found his sound and he found his motherfucking flow on 103 remixes. Remember his remix run? But his mixtape run, because he was on that, he was tapping into Jay hard. Tapping into that Jay shit hard. And he found his flow. He found his flow down, and then Young Thug took it.
So, you know,
at the end,
we can very well at some point in time, you know, create a family tree, you know, and show where the stuff branches from. And again, I think that there's a main three that we can look at: BDK, KRS, and Rakim. You feel me? And that kind of tells you everything that you need to know about the game and who inspired who and where it came from. So yes, last night we were treated to a symposium, you know, you know what I'm saying?